flowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Tidy Cats, here to level up your litter game with their new Performance Plus lineup. Your home is your happy place. Your cats, VIPs. So when it comes to the litter box, excellence isn't optional. Choose from products that specialize in max power clumping, low tracking, or odor fighting so advanced, stink won't see it coming. Tidy Cats Performance Plus. Mission mighty, keep it tidy. Shop now at tidycats.com.
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 330 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is an inspiring chat about how to make films and get them off the ground, raise funds, and get them seen by audiences.
Whoa! Look at you going off book.
It's time for something different.
No, it's not.
Thought that'd shock you.
Let's keep with tradition. Well, what is the intro? The intro is. I feel like we've gone really like philosophical by going off book. It's about how to get your films made, really. Like, it's about the mistakes. It's about the challenges, and it's about all those quirky, unusual, original ways that you go through to get your film made in a very specific way. So there we go.
Brilliant. That's the Filmmakers Podcast. I thought you were going to do the actual intro. I thought
No. I still don't. I'd have to actually remember it for that.
That's what I mean. That's why I was like, come on then. So on today's show, we have Eddie Sternberg, an incredible director, and he's made the feature film I Used to Be Famous.
He has indeed.
He came round to my house, which is nice because he lives just down the road. We sat in our dining room and we recorded for 2 hours. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. 2 hours.
2 long hours.
So poor Toby is cutting this down into less than 2 hours. So
1 hour, 59 minutes.
Yes. Well, what did we talk about?
Well, we kind of talk about. I mean, it's interesting for Eddie because I knew him when we were both sort of doing short films together, and he had this cool short film that was about an autistic boy that meets a sort of a once famous musician, and many years later he's managed to get this into a really respectable, very successful Netflix film, and it's really about that journey that we discuss on the episode, like finding the right producers, what the hiccups were along the way, what worked, what didn't work, and why they finally sort of took his project on.
Yep. And I think the important thing, as Dom said there, is how he turned his short film into the feature film I Used to Be Famous, and it became very, very popular. It was a big Netflix hit, and he talked all about that, working with Netflix, how it happened, how he got Ed Skrein to star in it. Yeah, I really love this movie. I didn't know Eddie at the time. I didn't know you knew him, and that's how the connection happened. And I just watched it on Netflix and went, I think I fancy this. I thought, this is really good. And I think I mentioned it to you and you went, oh yeah, I'll speak to Eddie and see if he can come on. And it's delightful now that we've managed to get him on. So if any of you watched it late last year, it's really worth watching. It's still on Netflix now. It's great. It's a really good debut movie. The film follows Vince, who's a desperate former pop star, dreams of making a comeback, and then at an impromptu jam session with autistic young drummer Stevie sparks an unexpected friendship between the two misunderstood musicians. It's produced by Colin McCarthy, and the cinematographer was Angus Hudson. There we go. Right. You're in the middle of the tour, aren't you, Dom, for the Shakespeare Sisters' latest feature film, Much Ado?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Pretty good, yeah. I mean, they always do well, these Shakespeare shenanigans. Popular filmmakers know how to put on an after party. Always a good event, really. So probably should come down.
Yeah, absolutely. Link to where they are screening next on their cinema tour is in the show notes. So head to that. Because the episode's long, should we just get to it? Get rid of the bump and the waffle?
Probably a good idea. I mean, maybe we should tell them again that they should come to the Triple Exposure launch event on the 22nd of March.
They definitely should, and I'm glad you reminded me. Yes, 22nd, myself and Dom are hosting. It's a
networking event and launch of a company that is banding together with insurance, accountancy, and clearance rights.
It is performance insurance. It is Elliot's, and it's reviewed and cleared. And also Pete from Greenlit, which is a crowdfunding platform, also involved. It's going to be a great event. It's all day on the 22nd from 12 until 6 of March. So come down, come join us. Link to that is in the show notes. Right, this is it then. No more news.
Pretty much no. That's it.
Great. All right. On next week's show, more news. There is. Coming up very soon is Florian Zeller, the son, director of The Father and the Son. And Stephen Follows with another Business of Film Explained. We've also got Richard Eyre coming up with his film Alleluia.
When that airs.
We've got, when it airs, yeah, I know, one day. And then we've got Dungeons and Dragons. So the team behind that came on as well and talked to Huw and Christian James because me and Dom were away. So there we go. Right. No more bump, right?
I love that disclaimer. That was so good.
This is our chat with the brilliant Eddie Sternberg. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our chat with him.
Enjoy. Yeah, I hate cars. Networking events aren't my favourite.
I remember you saying, yeah.
Yeah, but you that's the thing. You have to kind of get good at them, don't you?
Yeah.
You do have to get.
Yeah.
I just sort of when I do networking events, I don't waste my energy on like trying to talk to everyone. I just have a few good conversations.
Yeah.
And then like when I'm sort of burnt out, I go.
Have a few good.
I'll speak to like maybe 5 people.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Yeah.
Take those conversations around to every single new group.
Exactly.
It's the same conversation with everyone.
Same level of pun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it though that you forgot what group you've gone to and you go back to the same group. You do exactly. They go, hang on, you've just told us this.
I've done that a few times. Actually. No, not over the same networking event, but I've been to different networking events. Stuff like Screen Skills or something. You meet someone that's like, you don't know in the industry, but you speak to them, and I realized like a second, hang on, I've spoken to this person 3 times in a row, and I've introduced myself new every time.
You told the same anecdote.
Yeah. Or that line where you go, "So nice to meet you."
Yeah, so nice to meet you.
Hang
I look
on.
at you like you twat.
That was literally a minute ago. Absolutely. That's how much I registered on your scale.
Exactly.
There's no more of that shit.
We will win there.
We have. How are you doing, Eddie? You all right?
Very good, thank you. Very pleased to be here. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good because we're recording in my house.
Yeah,
which is
milling
nice.
it over in the hill.
Yeah.
I'm
Mill Hill.
very pleased we're recording in your house too.
Tell us why.
I live upstairs. No.
You didn't know.
It's in Jar's
I've been here the
attic.
whole time.
Yeah.
I've been here for 15 years. I live like 5 minutes down the road. So this is a wonderful chat to have.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And because I think I've cracked a rib playing football yesterday.
No Prince jokes there.
No. Wait, what?
Fist bump.
It's urban legend.
Urban legend. Fair play to him. Yeah. I don't think he cracked one. I think he took him out. So that's why I did it. I was playing football and it really hurt. So I'm quite glad that I didn't have to go out anywhere this morning
great.
as well.
Yeah. Perfect.
So that helps. So yes, it's good.
Good start to the podcast.
Great start.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Look up Prince and ribs.
Or don't.
Probably.
If you've got children.
Can we just talk about this for the next hour?
Next hour, yeah. Just this. Not I used to be famous at all. I love it. What? I don't even know where to start.
The whole concept, before we actually get into the nuts and bolts of the film itself, the whole concept of being famous is a fascinating one. I mean, there's one line in the movie that really like just sort of stuck with me, which is like, this is my time?
Yeah, this is your time.
This is your time.
Kind of.
Yeah. This is your time. And it's like, it's this idea of like, everyone is, it's not about always being famous. It's about doing what you love. And I think a lot of filmmakers can probably connect with that. Like, you have those moments when you're making your film and you're on top of the world. And then you have those moments when you're trying to make the film and everything is a struggle. And you're like, hang on, that felt like such a distant thing, that fame. But it's not the fame. It's actually just the reward of being where you love.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something the universe about your film that resonates with that sort of concept of like when you're really in that moment of joy and creativity, and then trying to sort of get that back, or trying to get back those younger years when you didn't have responsibility, or you didn't have that, or this, and life was simple. So what was the kind of the origins of your story, and how did it all sort of come about?
Thank you for saying that, by the way. When you were talking just then, I was just thinking about my single life, just dreaming fondly about. No, I'm kidding. Please don't kill me. Ashley, my wife, please don't kill me.
I thought hashtag bachelor. Hashtag please don't.
I peaked.
Eddie the Bachelor hashtag.
Oh god. I wish.
New year, new Eddie, new marriage.
This is started off badly. So no, yeah, that was exactly it. That was the original kind of concept. I remember I was like, it was like 2013, I think, and I was sat at the Prince Charles Cinema watching Francis Ha, and it wasn't a very busy work day, as you could tell.
Yeah.
Noah Baumbach's film.
No Baumbach's film, yeah. Haven't actually seen it because I was sat there watching it.
Wait, you were in the cinema watching Francis Ha, but you didn't actually see it. Wait.
Well, this is wise, because suddenly
It wasn't a Francis Ha. It's just just single Ha. Wasn't enough funny to keep you there.
exactly, it just wasn't enough. So the idea of Vince just came into my head. There were a lot of former boy band and girl band members that were sort of coming out of the woodwork at that time, and there was a lot of conversation, about this exact thing, about peaking at a very young age, or supposedly peaking, or thinking that you've peaked at that age, and having this kind of abundance of an excess of like sex, drugs, rock and roll, or sex, drugs and sugar pop, and too much sugar. And at that time, it was just quite interesting because these people were all being interviewed in like TV shows and in the press, and they had like a reunion tour, and there were these kind of recurring themes of just sort of. And they were really young as well. A lot of them were sort of like late 20s, early 30s, where most people are sort of getting their lives together. A lot of people aren't even then. And it just felt quite interesting with them talking about this very short period of time in their life where they just had everything they could possibly want, and they're being chewed up and spat out, and then having to deal with that.
Try and reinvent themselves, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was sat there in the cinema trying to watch this film, but this idea came, and I was one of those really annoying people that was just on their phone.
Oh, wow.
Low light mode, but still, pretty. I was one of those guys, and I was just like writing notes throughout the whole thing. And then I left halfway through because I just felt a bit bad about,
Francis halfway through.
No,
Can we cheers the microphone?
we couldn't. It was just a fist bump the microphone. Noah Baumbach'd his way out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I really.
He's not sorry.
No, Baumbach's not going to listen to this.
He will.
Yeah.
And
Unless we do a Noah Baumbach to back episode.
That was a stretch. That was
far
a
too
stretch.
far. But it's that idea just came. I really like that. That when you're somewhere and you
Like
have
him texting in the cinema.
No, I don't like that. But what I like is the fact that he had an idea. And a lot of people go, I've got an idea, and they sort of sit on it, and then maybe one little thing will stay in their mind. And then they'll go off and do 10, 50 other things. And they go, I had that idea. Oh, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you have an idea, I think it's so important, if you think it's a good one, to jot it down there and then.
Yeah.
Just go, stop what you're doing. Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about the other people that have paid money to see the film. Don't worry about the cinema. Don't worry about etiquette.
They'll thank you
That
eventually.
idea.
Yeah,
If you make a good enough film, they'll thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Those people who were in that cinema with you, who are listening now, will be thankful.
Maybe some of them, maybe a lot of them watched your film.
And
That's what it means.
it's officially their favourite film.
I
get
better
it,
than Francis Ha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Take that one back.
Take that literally, because that is all about an ex-musician falling out of favour, not being famous but still being recognised. And I think that's a really tough role. It happens to actors, less so to filmmakers, but definitely if you're an actor and you were in some huge show and now you can't work, or you struggle, or you went through mental health problems, because people do. This happens.
Oh, you had lockdown?
Yeah.
So you went from there, writing this idea down. How did you then turn it into something? Because that's sometimes the hard bit.
I realised that that story was quite juicy. Having a former pop star, and the stuff that I was researching was amazing because, you know, a lot of it was really, really funny. There were some really funny stories from like former pop stars. Some of it was really tragic as well. A lot of it was, you know, and it just felt really kind of rich and fertile for kind of a film story. But then I kind of realized, you know, that there were all these questions that were coming up in my head of sort of like, well, where does music sit in this actually? You know, if Vince, this former boy band star, had it all, and it's for, you know, like he was in a pop band, was it ever about music for him? Or was it always about the fact that he was just rich and famous? And I like the idea that it was always about music, but it was just a kind of slightly misguided, you know, commodified version of music where he'd been sort of packaged and then thrown, you know, whilst he was figuring out the sort of musician he wanted to be. Because a lot of these people were very talented, but they're kind of, you know, like packaged in a certain way. And then I was chatting to my wife about it, my wife Ashley, and we were sort of trying to figure out who could be the kind of antithesis to Vince. You know,
is this the wife Ashley who's just left you?
This is the wife who's just left me. Yes,
former wife.
My ex-wife Ashley.
We're terrible, Muriel.
And she's really upset that I didn't see Francis Ha. So we were chatting about it, and the subject of my cousin Saul came up. Saul Zur-Shapiro. So Saul's story is amazing. Cut long story short, he is a really talented drummer who formed a band called the Autistics, and they're a rock band who do really, really well, where the majority of the members are autistic. Back when he was about 10, he did, and he still does have very high support needs. But at that time, he didn't know how to play the drums. He also had difficulty with crowds and sort of very loud noises, like dogs barking, babies crying. But they sat him down by the drums and gave him drumsticks, which at the time he couldn't actually hold. And then he got the strength to hold them and started hitting the drums. And he'd always quite enjoyed music, and it had always helped a little bit. But when they sat him down by the drums, they noticed that there was something, you know, an experience that was just a whole new level of enjoyment for him. And he started getting tutored and started getting better and better. And then basically formed this band. And fast forward to, I think it's about 5 or 6 years after that point, he's performing on stage in front of 1,000 people.
Wow.
So Tom Jones is in the front row. They invite him up on stage, not because he's Sir Tom Jones. They just know that he's a potential music mate. You know, just another guy that likes music.
Just some random bloke.
Called
Tom, they thought.
Yeah, with a great voice of an angel. He comes up on stage and then he performs a Beatles song with them.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, the idea of, you know, music as this force for, you know, good and enjoyment, but also the power it can give to people, and especially someone like Saul, to go from not liking large crowds and loud noises to be performing in front of 1,000 people. That was the purity of that story represented a whole different side to music for me. So I thought having him as a kind of, you know, antithesis to Vince's story, I thought that was quite fertile ground.
And it's a very challenging thing. I mean, for anyone to, I remember when we did the Make Your Film events, and like even like 100, 120 people in a room, where you're like the one who's being like focused on and have to sort of maintain the thing. It's quite a daunting thing to deal with. And like 1,000 people, is
for
a
anyone,
lot. You know, and I think a lot of people that are creative as well, whether you're an actor or a director, are quite introverted, and actually it's getting past those things are quite a challenge, really, like being in large spaces, and then obviously on top of that he's got these extra support needs. I mean, it's quite an achievement, really, to get to that stage for anyone, but especially for him.
Exactly, and it was just so clear that the music is one of the main things that basically helped him get there. And it's just, I found that quite powerful. And then I kind of did quite a bit of research and went along to sort of music therapy groups for neurodivergent people. And it was just absolutely magic. I mean, there's certain scenes in the film that are sort of literally lifted from experiences that I'd sort of witnessed. So the bit in the film where Nadira, the girl at the end. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Spoiler. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Towards the end, but
you're not supposed to watch. You're not supposed to listen to the podcast unless you've watched the film.
exactly.
You should watch the film.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, you can watch it after.
Yeah.
That means I can't listen
Pause
to the
now
Noah Baumbach one.
if you're listening.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Toward in the third act, there's a scene where one of the members of this music therapy group finds her voice and sings, and that really happened. It was a different person, but that person was sort of silent throughout the whole of this session, and just sort of didn't look like they were enjoying it too much, and then suddenly they got handed the mic and then they performed this like word perfect "What a Wonderful World."
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite magical.
Yeah. So from there, like you say, you've got this idea, you've got this story. Did you did it as a short first, right? Was that
Because that's how we met. That's what I was going to say.
go on.
So I met Eddie at a short film night, and Eddie had just done his short film, and I just done my short film, and I remember watching it and thinking, this is a really great short, and it's nice because a lot of people make shorts and they try and make something that feels like a short, like it's not drastically ambitious. It's contained. It has the sort of like the twist at the end, but it could be like a good student film or whatever. Where I'm thinking Eddie's actually has its own thing. It feels like a film, which is what I always tried to do with my shorts. Was basically like make a sort of a mini feature or something that had the production values of a feature that was like a better calling card.
Because it's so hard with a short to do a beginning, middle, and end. It really difficult. That's why a lot of people don't do it, because you're like, well, is it going to be good enough? But sometimes it's like, well, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Are you doing it to win awards because your short's the best in the world? Or are you doing it as a calling card? You're doing it to showcase your directing skills or the cinematography or the story. And then you've got to think about those things. And if it's all of them, great, try it. But it's so hard to try and get a short that ticks all those boxes.
Yeah, I found the biggest challenge with the short was being told by everyone that it needs to be as short as possible.
Yeah, I hate that, yeah.
Otherwise you won't get,
that's always the
into festivals and stuff, which isn't the case, because a lot you need to make the film that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, as you say, sort of getting people to care about your characters and have them go through enough to in that short period of time to make it worthwhile. That was the biggest challenge there, which we sort of worked quite hard
short period of time.
Nice. And it was about 17 minutes according
16,
to...
I think.
16, right.
Yeah, because I had the same thing actually. Like I'd done a film that was just over 50 minutes, and everyone's like, we have to do it 15 minutes for the short film festivals and this and that. And it's like, yes, if you specifically want to enter certain festivals, then but it's the same with feature film. It's like the amount of times when you send a script through and they're like, no, it has to be this number of pages, like without even reading the thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're trying to sort of fit you into a box. And it's like, yes, don't faff around, don't take more time than you need to. But the story is as long as the story needs to be.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I like that you sort of held to that principle.
Cheers, man. I kind of held that principle on everything, really, because I've always wanted to be a director ever since I was like, well, I say this like romantically ever since I was 5.
Wow.
I have no idea if it was, but
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Still do. So my dad took me to see Spartacus when I was 5.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, which is quite intense for a 5-year-old to see Kubrick. And I turned up to school the next day. I am Spartacus.
And all the other kids are going, what's wrong with this?
Yeah,
Did you slay any children?
That's Eddie again. He has no friends for a reason.
But from like 5-year-old, like you say, you had the passion to say, this could be something I might want to do.
Yes.
But still going to do it. When was the moment that you went, okay, I can see a career path here? Do you remember it?
Probably when I was on set shooting the feature film. Up until that point, it was always like, I hope it will happen one day, and it's like, this is happening.
I felt the same until I was on set the day. I still was like, I'm dreaming, I'm pretending.
It's imposter syndrome, which is I think is a very valuable thing to have. Imposter syndrome, and I hope I never lose it. And I'm sure I won't, because I still kind of feel like an imposter as a functioning, human adult with 2 kids. Like I'm like, oh my God, am I doing this? Let alone when you're on set. And I think that kind of nervous energy and excitement feeds in to everyone else, as long as it's sort of in control, and that doesn't come across too much to the finances, but to everyone else, because it means everyone's excited and you're kind of on edge enough to do a good job,
And I think having that self-critique is absolutely important, because like the kind of films that suck tend to be ones where the filmmaker has just sort of lost that restraint or self-critique. It's the kind of thing where they look at the script and they're like, oh, well, there's a plot hole there, but it'll be fine, or we can remove this bit and we'll put in a funny laugh because that's a good idea. And they don't have that overall like seeking for perfection that I think a lot of us need to have.
You can
to be fantastic.
feel that in the film.
Yeah. I sort of, when I look back on it, I can't really imagine going in any other direction, but it was like film was just it was a hobby, and it was just sort of a huge part of my life. But there wasn't really like anyone at school or college saying you can be a filmmaker. It just happened to be that I hated everything else so much, and those things were like subjects that I could take and I was good at. And then you just sort of naturally, organically just end up sort of on that path just because you like it. And then suddenly you're like, oh, actually, I'm doing this. I'm a cameraman now, and or camera woman or whatever. And then you sort of end up doing it. I mean, how did you go from wanting to be in film to actually doing film? Did you know you wanted to do it at college? Did you sort of immediately try and go into it? Or were you sort of forced into other jobs, like, get a real job, or et cetera, et cetera?
Genuinely, it had always been the dream. I was always kind of like known as like, the guy that kind of, I'd sort of turned
just
down.
like the Fablemans.
That's based on me more than Spielberg. I wish.
I mean, you've both got Berg in your
that's
surnames.
True. That is, God, the amount of kind of like, Eddie Spielberg.
He's more
like
Spielberg, you're more Stern.
Yeah. We're in the family, like, very good, very good. No, my family's always been very supportive, but that really tickled you.
Don really enjoyed that one.
My family's been very supportive, but there'd always be that kind of like, I'd film something when I was very, very young, and they'd be like, Eddie Spielberg, in a kind of lovely, supportive, but slightly patronizing way, and then be like, okay, cool, and now can you just film us do the birthday cake?
Who's Spielberg now, Mum?
Yeah.
I'm on Netflix.
Yeah, it's true. Right?
Take that, Mum.
I never had a get a real job thing until probably like 2017, where my wife and I, we just got married, and it was like, I had a sort of 2-man band production company with a friend of mine that, essentially we made really bad business decisions because we both just wanted to make films. So I actually made my first short film, Out of Body. And it was like...
you made it when you're out of body.
Achievement. He's on one. He's on one today.
He's on one today. So Out of Body was made with TfL. It was like a kind of road awareness piece.
Oh, yeah.
But I managed to kind of convince them to just let me make my first short film and serve their needs. But mainly because we were like, look, the previous thing they'd done was quite sort of preachy, and it was a bit sort of... I don't know, it was very much like what not to do sort of explanatory video kind of thing. And we were like, well, look, if you've got lots and lots of young, sort of 16 to 21 year olds watching these events, and the events were called Safe Drive, Stay Alive events. And they were really, really important, where members of the emergency services would speak to them about, the real life dangers of driving, and just starting to drive and all that kind of stuff. And they'd have this video that they'd play that they would need an update for. So we were like, well, why don't you make something in the vein of what they would actively watch, in their own time? Like, at that time, I mean, this was 2014. So yes, like Top Boy or Youngers, that TV show is out. Why don't we make something that kind of emulates that stuff with real characters and have, a real story, but obviously have these really important messages come through. That was, and they supported us and said, yeah. So my first short film was, really well funded by them, mainly in that they gave us all their emergency vehicles, which were actually all on call throughout. Really? So we had this kind of like frozen one take shot thing as we went through all of these, went around like what was essentially like a crash scene, and at any point, any of those vehicles could have gone.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of added to the
gotta get the shot
stress, obviously for much more important things. Anyway, so that worked really well, where we sort of asked a client to make us let us make a film. Then we had a lot of other clients that just wanted us to sell their product. We're like, yeah, but why don't we just do like this really lovely like opening to Boogie Nights? Ever seen the opening to Boogie Nights? Yeah, it comes down and then we introduce all the characters.
The crane shot.
Yeah, the crane shot. They're just like, no. So anyway, so at that point we realized, we were staying with my parents at the time, trying to save. I was trying to get I Used to Be Famous made along with my producers, Collie McCarthy and Chris Pensakovsky at the time, and co-writer Zach Klein. And it was like, yeah, I should probably get a full-time job now. We want to try and get a mortgage. And so that at that point, I actually went in-house somewhere.
And the dream died.
Well, this is the thing. This is what's quite interesting to talk about, because the dream is kind of, that faith was actually the most important thing, because it could easily have done what a lot of other people do, which is you do get that proper job and then you start life and then time goes away.
Yeah.
And it did. I mean, the job I took wasn't a 9 to 5. It was an in-house directing branded content. So it was
which is great because you're still doing what you want to do.
Exercising the muscle, great clients, but you lose time.
Yeah.
These 14-hour days, sometimes longer than that. So then how are you going to be creative? So I was like, I need to add more hours in the day. So I would go based on this kind of faith
Back
in
in
this dream. Go back in time. Gotta go back. And I'd get to work.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd get to work at, I Used to Be Famous was really based on my life as a former boy band member. I'd go back. I'd get to work at 6:30 at the Starbucks next door and work for 2.5, 3 hours before work started. And then if I finished at a decent time on the day, I'd go to a cafe after work and then add more time to work. No comment. Don't sue me. And I'd send it to my co-writer, Zach, who was living in Canada at the time. So then he'd work while I was sleeping and then we kind of, so
I love that because that's
They're not next to you.
which you could have done. That's okay too.
very close relationship. You're in. Tag it.
But what you did there was you said, and like you say, a lot of people wouldn't do that. They're in that full-time job, doing something they enjoy. They're not working in a coffee shop or wherever, a bank.
No
disrespect to those people, absolutely. But you wanted to be a filmmaker, but yet you were making stuff. I'm just going to ignore him for a little bit. But you were like, no, I need to make films. That's what I want to do. I want to make my features. I want to move forward my career, whether that's TV, film, whatever it is. And you did that by spending more time. You could have been sleeping, you could have been spending time doing other things, surfing, whatever the hell. And actually, you have to really push yourself in this industry if you want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
People forget once you've sort of got there, and I mean got there, there's no ever, I don't think ever got there exists. I think it's you're on the path that, okay, now you're in with a studio, or now you're in with that. You're still struggling. You don't know what's coming around the corner.
Yeah.
But the point is you're now on that conveyor belt.
Yeah. It's a hard balancing act between sort of that, because there's obviously, if you're not earning enough and you've got loads of free time, then you've got the creativity space, but then you've got the stress of not having the money. But then if you go too far in the other direction, you've got loads of money, but you just don't have any mental bandwidth left after doing the job.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of, it's that hidden thing that, like no one really talks about, that you kind of have to have a parallel career or something that gives you just enough space that you can kind of push in and do the stuff that you need to be doing around it.
Yeah.
And that's always the hard thing, I think. And it is really important to have that kind of parallel thing that can kind of support your career rather than sort of kind of fighting against it.
But when you're being creative in your job anyway, then it's really hard to still be creative in the mornings and evenings. It's so hard.
Well, that's an interesting one, because you're right. There is that creative bandwidth, but then there's also, I'm being paid to be creative for a client, right? And that's cool to be doing that. However, it's much easier to be creative for something that I want to make as a film. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you can continue that energy and that you put into, won't name clients' names, but like a certain thing for them and create a narrative, it's like, well, I could do that. I could just do that over here, So the parallel job thing is really interesting because, if you look at filmmakers that are making films for a living, they have in between jobs as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Paul Thomas Anderson, he makes a film every 5-6 years or whatever,
and he works in a circus the rest of the time.
It's a great show.
He works in a coffee shop.
It's a great show. No, but he'll go and make commercials. And he does. I mean, obviously he'll do it, by choice. But he's got to do something in between. I don't know if it's a financial thing or not, but
Probably is. I mean, it probably
right.
is.
And so that's something that doesn't get spoken about. You're right, especially when you're coming up.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys do. During lockdown, I was saying this to Giles.
We don't get paid
earlier.
for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Sadly.
Well, then my point dies then. No, but for having making the films, in this independent way, showing people that it can be done. There's not just like a certain expected kind of, you get your public funding or you get a streamer to fund it. It's like, no. If you want it enough, you can get it made and make something really good, and I think that's genuinely like throughout lockdown, when it was the one time where I'd gone freelance a few months before and we just had our first baby, and it was sort of like all my commercial work that I spent 7 months, freelance cultivating, that all stopped.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't support my kid. I've got a film that I've been trying to get made for 5-6 years that, like, let's face it, it isn't getting made any time soon.
Yeah, no one's knocking on the door right now.
The world's gone to shit. So I was listening to your podcast, and you still had that faith in that. It really did genuinely like help me, seeing how you guys, have that energy and get things done. And then obviously that I wrote something new during lockdown, which ended up being the thing that got picked up first by Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that faith. I think the faith is like, the faith is always there, but then it's more like you just can't give up than actually the faith. Like the faith isn't there every day. Like I think I've spoken to so many filmmakers on the film events, the podcast, even like the top people often wake up in the morning and they think this is never going to happen. And I think that is something that like a lot of filmmakers live with. But then there's other days when you have the faith and you're like, yep, this is a possibility. This is a possibility. Yep, we can still do this. It's just the keeping going. I think that's more authentic than the faith, because the faith isn't always there. It's just that there's no other option than to keep going, because what else would we be doing?
And that's why it's important to have more than one film. Yeah. Sometimes you've got one, your faith is all on that, and you can get so disappointed and feel rejected constantly. Whereas if you've got quite a few going and you're spinning a few plates, and again, not too many, I've made that mistake before, but if you've got just enough, you can jump quite happily. That one's just drifted, but suddenly this one goes, and you get an email back from the first one that you just let lie, and that doesn't feel, you're not the one sending emails going, hey guys, what's going on? Hey guys, what's going on? Which is just annoying for everyone else. You've got to be pushing, but you can't be annoying, and it's that fine balance, isn't it, when you're trying to make the films. So you've now made your short, I Used to Be Famous. That's how you met Dom, the superhero. That is Dom, the pun star.
The pun hero.
Sorry, pun hero. So I got that totally wrong. I didn't mean superhero.
I think superhero.
Okay, all right. And that short, I Used to Be Famous, did so well. It won many awards at so many festivals. Naomi Aki was in it, and my mate Tom Bacon was actually in that.
I know Tom.
Yeah. We did a film
Bringing
together
home the
back,
bacon.
He's a great guy.
when I was acting. And from there, how did it develop? Obviously, you made a short before that, and then you made a couple after. But were you always thinking, I want to turn this into a feature film?
Always. It always felt like it was sort of bursting to kind of, expand, I guess. And that was the challenge that we were speaking about before, is sort of make something contained enough that it is a short film, but strong enough that people care about the characters, whilst being a proof of concept for a feature film. That was the challenge. That was always the thing. And I mean, almost straight after, once the short film was out, I was sort of trying to figure out, how to kind of expand it. And my co-writer, Zach Klein, came to me with a few ideas that he had. They were very much in line with what I had. And he, for me, that was a really interesting experience, sort of just having that like sounding board straight away. And then obviously full on co-writer. And then, it took a while. We wrote, we were outlining for months, which is part of the reason why I brought Zach on board, because, going back to what we were talking about before, where sort of there isn't a kind of agreed principle on how to do things. For me, when it comes to writing, I tend to kind of go the opposite to the craft kind of advice of like how, I'd never done an outline before. I would just shoot from the hip with my shorts and just start writing, because that kind of unlocks it for me.
I think that's fine with shorts. I really think
exactly with shorts. Exactly. That's why I needed him as a co-writer
for the feature.
Because I knew that I would just go down. You have the ability to just rip it up and start again with a short. With a feature, you could spend like months and then have to start again.
There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
So getting to page 70 and going, oh my God, what do I do? Because I hadn't written out the treatment. I hadn't blocked it and sometimes I'm really now going to real detail.
Yes.
Okay, this scene we'll talk about that. This scene we'll talk about that. This is good. And even start, almost a scriptment.
Yeah.
And I did that on the last film that I wrote, and I really enjoyed that. I wrote that with someone else, and I really, really enjoyed doing that. Really getting into detail before.
Into the weeds.
Because otherwise you get stuck. I hate getting stuck.
I agree to a degree.
Which degree?
I used
3 degrees or
maybe like third degree, like a burn.
Oh God.
I agree to a degree. Like some stuff, having the outline and knowing the ending, especially, is very, very important.
Yeah.
But other times, sometimes you kind of there's one project. I'm not going to go into what the project is, but there's one project where we just created the world so vividly and intensely.
It's Jurassic Park 3, wasn't it?
It's Jurassic Park 3. Yeah. We created the world so vividly and intensely, and the characters, and we had so many ideas that it was just brimming to go, basically. And we just started writing it, and we kind of formed the whole thing, and it was just sort of going in this momentum and this pace. And then we got to the end, and we looked at it and we're like, okay, the front end needs work. And then we sat down, we're like, okay, we're going to restructure the front end. We're going to take these scenes out. And then we sort of did that process of doing it. But then there was a large percentage of the script that was like really, really in a good place. And then there's other projects where you sort of write, and then you get to the end and it's like, it's waffle and it doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't. So I think it does depend on how much ideas you've got for what you want to do and what your writing process is and who's your writer. If you've got a writer that can work from a template, definitely do the template.
Yes.
But if you're doing it yourself, and sometimes you've just got this bubbling of ideas and you're willing to go back to it afterwards, sometimes it does work that way. You just know that you've got to do that work afterwards, and you will probably have to maybe lose a third of it or do a lot of rewrites on it.
Yeah. You make a very good point, because I've experienced both and haven't made my mind up yet, because I'm writing my second feature now, and we spent many months outlining, and I'm very happy that we've done that. Because I've literally got like, this happens in this scene, great, and I can just kind of dialogue the shit out of it, which is the thing that I find most fun when writing. But when you're in the weeds, I don't find it that enjoyable. I guess that's a good thing, because you're really striving for it to make as much sense as possible and be as exciting as possible. And in a way, if you're talking about a certain scene without writing it, it should be quicker, really. You get further quicker having not had to write the scene. But I do find that so much creativity comes just whilst you're writing it, that you're almost not battling against the outline.
Yeah.
But kind of. And again, I guess that's a good thing. But it's sort of, to get to where I am now, it did take quite a lot of, tearing my hair out and all that kind of stuff. Maybe because for me, writing doesn't come as naturally. I think directing is always the thing I wanted to do. And then it became writing, and then I quite enjoyed that.
Yes, because you're kind of writing out necessity because you want to direct.
Otherwise,
you've got to option someone else's script or bring another writer in, etc.
It's probably the thing that came last to me was actually being able to write, good sort of writing. And I think it sort of comes from reading lots of scripts, mental maturity,
doing it,
understanding and doing it. Yeah. But another thing I would do with writing is, if I did have the outlines or I knew certain scenes, some scenes I just didn't know how to write. So I knew what would happen in the scene. So sometimes I'd just write a description.
Love that.
Or a paragraph or two as a placeholder. I knew roughly what needed to happen. I might not even have, quite the small dot for that little connecting bit in the two scenes afterwards, but I knew something big had to happen by this point, and then this starts from here.
Yeah.
And I'd write the scene ahead, and I'd write the scene behind, and I'd sort of think about those connecting bits, but I'd just leave it in the back of my mind and I'd carry on. And that can work very well as a sort of intermediate way of doing it as well. Sometimes you just can't write a scene at that time.
I totally agree with you. That's a great way to do it. Just write a description. That's totally fine, because when you come back to it in however long later, you go, oh, I know what it is now.
Yes.
And the same with dialogue. You know, there was one really important speech in the last film I've written. Myself and Noel just wrote in there, really important speech. This will be funny.
Yeah.
This will be that. And that's it. We just left it
none
for
of those
ages.
things.
It ended up being none of those things. Just totally cut it out. But it's the speech that people talk about as well. It's, you know, it's not just that. And I find that really fascinating that we were so strong. We knew it was important. We knew it was that we just went, let's leave it. Let's leave it. Let's ignore it. There was 2 of them. We just went, let's leave both of them.
So then when did you write? Did you write it during workshopping, or kind of when did you get to it?
After we'd literally done about...
Still hasn't. It's just a subtitle.
When we've done about 4 or 5 drafts, when we were already sending it to people. So it was, we know we need to... And then I just one day just went, I need to write it. And it just all came splurging out.
You may think you know McDonald's drinks, but you don't know them like this. From fruity refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba, to crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry-flavored Sprite topped with cold foam. Who knew ice-cold drinks could be so fire? 6 all-new drinks are here. Try them all, now at McDonald's. Refreshers contain caffeine.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
So my first film, you know, there's a lot of music in it. And my next film, there'll be a lot of music in it as well. So I have to write, you know, I was very lucky to work with Dan Rothman and Hannah Reid from London Grammar, and my composer, David Saunders, on the music for I Used to Be Famous. You know, just really, really lucky. I was a big fan of London Grammar, and it was like a dream to be working with them. And David, I worked with on the short. I had to write in the script something where it's sort of like, this is going to be a great track, you know, kind of thing.
No pressure, composer.
Exactly.
This
must be amazing. And I'm kind of doing that again with this one as well. But it does feel a bit weird to be like, you know, and then he starts to, you know, sing, and the lyrics are about this, because the lyrics are so important.
Yes.
I find when it comes to stuff like that, or when it comes to like the harder scenes to get through, you just need to get through it. Do you know what I mean? In any way that you can. And even if
you write it badly.
Exactly. That's what I found with this one. Like probably 100% of it is bad at the moment. But no, as I'm going through, it's sort of, I'd rather just go through it, even if I know that it's not going to be great, because it's going to have another pass and then another pass before anyone sees it, you know. I say that, and then my producers, when they read it, will be like, have you done any other passes apart from the bad pass? You know?
So let's jump into making I Used to Be Famous then. You know, going from that short, which did extremely well, you're now on the path to sort of go, okay, I want to turn it into a feature. How did you do that? Because that's what a lot of people want to know. How did you actually turn that? Like I say, you started the writing process, you're working with your pal, and now what? How did you actually move it forward?
So a lot of the things that I find that people, when I speak to young filmmakers, that it doesn't occur to a lot of them is actually the producers you're working with. A lot of people like to, you know, they feel like that they're going to have to do it all themselves. And I always find that it's sort of, if you take too much on, you know, and you think, yeah, I'll just get it made, I'll borrow a few things. And, you know, it's a little bit dangerous, because obviously sometimes you have to do that, you know, but you need to be focusing on the writing and directing. If you're writing and directing it, you need someone that is going to be better than you producing it, trying to get it made. I'm sure when you're out and about and you have conversations, you'll do a bit of that as well, but you need someone that wants to producing for you, and that will take you a lot further, I think. So anyway, for me, working with Chris Pensakowski, who produced the short, he was producing the feature at that time, and we brought in Collie McCarthy, who was a filmmaker, producer that I was very impressed with, and he had some great ideas as well. So Chris and Collie were, and then obviously Zach Klein, my co-writer, we were the kind of the nucleus at that point. And we just started writing and working on it and sending it to them. So sent it to my agent, and she's always been great with feedback. And then we brought on Isabella Odoffin, who is our casting director. And so Colin McCarthy had worked with her on his on a short that he'd done.
Were you paying anyone at this point?
So at that point, was there
any funding or anything?
There was no funding at that point.
Okay.
We knew that there was some legs to it, because in any conversation there was always, you know, something more than just sort of like a dismissal. Isabella, you know, got sent a lot of scripts, you know, and she really valued it. And then we also got, I think, what was the funding we got that before we wrote the script? We were selected the last 20 for Creative England iFeatures.
Oh, for the iFeatures?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, great.
Which we didn't get. But we were
Not so great.
So no, we didn't get funding. But there was a confidence that it was like,
Who's laughing now?
They're out of business, so
I didn't want to go there. But so actually that year I think they did like Lady Macbeth and God's Own Country, so they did pretty good choices.
I used to be famous.
No, Miyake's in Lady Macbeth. Anyway, so no, there wasn't funding for the first couple of years, and then we put a little bit of our own money in for casting, because it became quite clear. Casting and also script development. So we started working with a really talented producer who and script developer, Ed Clark, through Collie's connections at Shoebox. Collie was working at Joe Wright's production company, Shoebox, for a few years. He really took it to another level for us. There were some big conversations that took place where, you know, certain characters would just take them out and hone it, and you know, so we had a great chat with him. Always recommend, you know, script editors and script developers, script editors essentially. We had a little bit of our own money for him, a little bit of our own money for an initial search for Stevie. And then we just kind of put that into the kind of deal that we would eventually get. So that kind of helped with the whole faith and belief of
development part. Which is great. And interestingly, the short itself though was funded by BFI, is that right?
Part funded, Film London on their Southern Exposure, London Calling.
Right, and was that you just applying?
Yes, so Chris Pensacoski, my producer for the short, he sent it off. We got down to the last, I think it was like 10, and then 3 were got a little bit of money from them, basically. But the main thing with that stuff, when, you know, if you're lucky enough to get public funding, I find is actually just being plugged into that world, because you get support from, you know, the people that are, you know, high up in Film London and BFI and stuff, and it's just being able to have those kind of contacts.
And I think something we touched on in the kitchen before we started recording is that,
you know,
it was a great pre-chat.
Which is always sometimes the way, is that we, you know, the fact is that there's a lot of people being on this podcast, but not many of them have had any kind of funding. And that's, I think, interesting in terms of the whole indie filmmaking world and short filmmaking world, and how
what blood sacrifices did you have to make to get there?
Things like that, and
this
how
will definitely become explicit.
And how certain people, you know, get that chance, and it's usually the writing, it's usually the project, it's usually that helps. So now you're in that group, you're in that world of public funding. Were they interested in the feature from then? Obviously, because it had done well. Had they talked to you about it?
They don't always like stuff that does well.
It's amazing, that, isn't it?
Like, this is too commercial for us.
That's the conversation.
We don't want to succeed.
Actually, that probably is a conversation. We're like things no one sees.
So that side of things, we spend. I mean, that's the thing with filmmakers is, you know, everyone kind of thinks like, if you don't get public funding, it's going to be very hard to do.
It is.
Yes. You're not going to do it. That's what a lot of people do think. There's sort of like
there are some people that are like, oh, I haven't been handed my public funding for my feature. I can't believe I haven't been handed my public funding for my feature. And they're like, they're just expecting this handout. And they're like, most people have to just suffer and sacrifice and like find a way to put it together themselves.
And that's what this podcast has proved, that over this time, like I say, there's not that many people have the public funding, but yet so many people have succeeded.
Yeah.
And people have gone out there and raised funds and spoken to investors and working out the IMs and working out how the waterfall happens. You know, they've not left it to a public funder, or not say left it to. I mean, hey, I'd I'd love to be in that world.
Yeah.
But
no, if you want it enough and you believe in your project enough, and also there's being pragmatic about it as well. It's sort of, well, maybe this isn't the right project for now.
Yeah.
So maybe I mean, to be honest, that was the initial thought process behind the new thing I'm writing now. It was sort of like, well, it's actually pitching I Used to Be Famous. You know, obviously seeing it now, it feels like an easy pitch, but actually it's not an easy to pitch genre. You know, it's not, this is a horror, this is a comedy, which a lot of the time is the thing that people are after. You know?
Totally. Well, it's kind of almost in the musical bracket as well.
Yeah, music, drama, comedy. It's kind of, you know, and so I could see why it took a while, having not had any track record of making features. But
Music track record
of making features, not one of the best. Yeah, but then you know, we had belief because every time it would go out to industry, every time we made a change, you know, Ed Clark didn't need to spend his time on it, but he obviously believed in the project enough to work on it. And then it was sort of improved, and then it went out again, and then we were lucky enough to get executives on board, Damien Jones, who one of the best producers in the country.
Absolutely.
So Damien Jones produced things like The Iron Lady and you know, lots of big films, and he's very supportive of up and coming filmmakers as well. Paul Grindy as well, you know, really well thought of executive producer in the industry. So these people were starting to be attached to the package, and then you know, people start to hear about it, and now with a bit more value attached to it. So
was this before Netflix came on? Or?
Yes. So this is around sort of 2018, 2019, you know, and we started to look at kind of talent at that point, because again, the hardest thing is to try to, you know, with no track record, is to try and like make it as easy to fund as possible for finances, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And then lockdown hit, and it was that was the one time where I was sort of like, maybe this isn't going to happen, or maybe it will be later. You know, but I never once thought, whether we made it for millions or thousands or hundreds, it was going to happen at some point. But then lockdown hit, and that was when I started writing this new thing, which I'd already been thinking about before. But just with no income coming in for you know, and my wife on mat leave, and all my daytime work being cancelled as a freelancer, falling through the cracks, you know, no furlough, which I'm sure so many people listening to this will relate to.
Totally. Yeah.
I was like, well, what's the thing that I need to like generate, you know, opportunities now? And like you were saying before about having other stuff on your slate, something new that you don't think is going to happen might just suddenly surprise you and get picked up. So I ended up on not much sleep, you know, with the newborn, starting to write this new thing, which I can't really mention the title just yet, but it's a kind of music thriller.
I used to be a vampire.
You got it. Dancing Dracula.
Yeah.
Played by Nick Cage. No, he's already
doing it. He's doing it. Yeah. Damn, we missed the boat. Damn, I knew there was something.
Can't wait for that. And then started writing that. I actually started writing that as a pilot. And then I'd been chatting to a few different producers, you know, and just about this new thing, you know. Obviously I wanted to work with them. So at that point, Colin McCarthy was the sole producer on I Used to Be Famous, and obviously I wanted to work with him on this next thing, but also chatting and meeting other people. And yeah, one of those people ended up becoming just a very, very important kind of figure at Netflix. So having had discussions before with that person,
right,
there was already interest there. So I just needed to like reach them again. But obviously every other filmmaker in the UK was probably trying to reach them. I haven't, once they saw the press release.
Yeah.
And then we did start talking. And then the conversation was about whether this thing could actually be a film rather than the pilot. And it was always meant to be a film.
So you're now in the room. You're now
you're
pitching these projects, and they're talking to you.
The mockumentary, The Room?
Yes. But then they're talking to you about potential other projects. Is this talk us through that moment when, you know, I Used to Be Famous actually, you know, you got the green light?
Yeah, it was kind of an out-of-body experience.
Wow.
To name a really unfamous short film that no one's seen. But yeah, actually quite a few people have seen it on the Safe Drive. So like, I digress. So we were talking about this new thing. In that conversation, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've got this thing we've been trying to make for, you know, I think probably at that point, it was like 5 years at that point.
Right.
You know, it's ready to go. It's been through so much development. It's like got, you know, Ed Clark's been on it. I've got Isabella Dauphin. I've got these, you know, great exec producers, and this is like ready to go, and I'm just there in all the conversation. I'm just kind of like, I this new thing I'm really excited about too. Like, great, let's talk about it. Let's make it work for you. And then the right moment came where it was like, while we're here, here's a project. And I don't know if they read it before or whether, but that it was given to them with a view to just having a new kind of, head on it, just reading.
And by them, you mean?
There's Netflix.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from my agent sort of about a week and a half later. And it was really funny. I was on the phone to her outside because it was just such a big kind of moment, and the baby was sleeping. Could not risk the baby waking up and ruining this moment for me. And it was like Netflix want to do both films, and after all of that,
ludicrous.
Yeah, it was pretty mad. Like, to go from, being honest, it was like the worst moment in my entire life, like in lockdown, to the second best after my kid being born. I'm glad I managed to make sure that was
you've turned it around. Still married.
Still married, yeah. And then it was mind blowing, because it was sort of it was just everything I'd wanted for so many years and never thought would happen, really.
What do you think it was about the pitch that worked? Why was it suddenly they went, we'll have both? Do you think there was anything you did? Do you think there was anything that our filmmakers listening would go, oh, right, I could have done that, or I should have done that?
I think it's being in the room. And the most important thing is, once you're in the room, is just showing the ultimate passion and knowing, like, even though you've not made a film before, like, making sure that they know as well as that they're in good. This is in good hands, and it's going to be great. That's what you got to have that genuine belief. I think that was the main thing. But to get in the room, it's all about it. What I would say is, again, in our pre-chat,
did you meet in person, or did you do Zooms, or?
So this was Zooms at the time, but we'd met before. So
that really does help. Yeah.
It helps a bit. So the hustle, basically, you have to be able to hustle on all kind of angles. When it comes to, hustle might not be the right word, but just basically be at 100% going for it when it comes to writing the script, 100% going for it when it comes to making it better. When it comes to meeting people, when it comes to telling people about it, when it comes to, you've just got to be kind of spreading it as much as possible. And I think I'd met this person because I went to an event, made sure I spoke to people there. And obviously, you don't want to like force things too much when you're in, but when, if you're in a room where there's filmmakers and there's financiers and stuff, you need to take advantage of that opportunity and at least get to chat to the people.
Yes.
You don't want to just be like, elevator pitch straight away. You play it cool, but you just meet them. And once you make contact with someone, having an email from someone that has already met you is not a cold email anymore.
That's really important. That and again, a lot of filmmakers out there go, look, I struggle with that. I struggle with networking events. Dom even said at the beginning, look, I don't really like it, but you have to play the game. You have to do it. Because those people aren't going to knock on your door. Why would they? All right, you might make a short that breaks out and you're reclusive and they're going, come and meet us. Sure, maybe. But reality is that's one in 100,000. So you've got to be knocking on the door. And like you said, you were in the right place, talking to the right people, and then you sent a follow-up email. Which then led into, all right, we'll get you in the room on probably the strength of your work and your writing and your award-winning shorts.
So did you send them the pitches before you spoke to them, or did you say, can we have a conversation?
Well, because I'd already spoken to the person at Netflix before and they'd already read stuff.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
At that point, that was, but in terms of getting into other rooms, I mean, the other thing I find is just, the whole world of having a producer that sends stuff, and because suddenly it's a bit more legitimate than
sending it yourself.
It's solicited, that, and it is really important, that kind of thing. I mean, since the film came out, it's quite interesting because you like, there's quite a lot of messages. I'm going to invite so many messages now. It's quite hard, to get back to sort of DMs where someone wants to send you a script. You can't really engage because you're not protected. Whereas if someone sends something to my my agent and they have, even whether they have a producer or not, but it's gone through that channel, you take it a lot more seriously. You look at it. So I think that's it. I think you need to be. It's interesting because we're talking about the hustle and getting there and taking advantage of stuff, but it's also, there's certain ways of doing it that, you will be taken more seriously, if you go through certain channels. But I think if you're in any room with anyone, you need to go for it and chat to someone.
Yeah, for sure.
Great, love it. So you talked about casting a little bit earlier. Did casting make a difference here? Because you got Ed Skrein on, who's known for Deadpool. He's a wonderful actor,
amazing human being as well. I mean,
great.
Yeah, having
Always
Netflix.
helps.
Absolutely. For my first film, I was so lucky. I mean, I got told by so many of the crew, it's kind of like, you don't realize how lucky you are to have your first film. Like, everyone's such a legend. Like, Eleanor Matsura, Ed Skrein, Leo Long, we all became very close.
Yeah.
And obviously the other support actors as well. But yeah, so having Netflix on board at that point, being able to go to someone like Ed Skrein.
So Netflix came on board, then you got the cast. Wow.
It's interesting.
So did you just talk?
mix.
Did you just talk to the agents and say we've got Netflix funding it, and that's it?
So at that time, our casting director went to the agent, and Ed read it, and we met very quickly because it spoke to him. I think he actually saw the short, and he just, Ed has done so many. He's such a great actor that he actually hadn't done anything in his own accent since Ill Manners.
Oh, right.
He'd done he'd worked with Barry Jenkins on Beale Street. He'd worked with Deadpool and stuff. And I think it spoke to him. There was a reflection of London in the short that really spoke to him, and in the script as well. And I think with Ed, we'd seen him play these, great kind of antagonists, in most of the stuff that he's played. And we met him because obviously with Vince, there's a bit of bite there, but there's this warmth that we need. We need to be with Vince. And as soon as we met Ed, he's one of the warmest guys I've ever met, and such a talented actor, so dedicated. He learned to sing for the role.
Wow. I mean, he's decent.
He was amazing. With Vince, we wanted him to be a relatable singer, someone that could. I actually like the idea of like an Ian Curtis or like a Jim Morrison, someone that kind of like had the deep, speaky type of singing. Yeah. Because it kind of fit that synth wave type of thing. And he learned to do that. He learned to play piano, learned to play synth. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. But to have that access to cast like him and like Eleanor Matsura, who, was working in The Walking Dead at the time, and with having that kind of Netflix backing and casting director and producer working really hard to try and get her over here during COVID for the time that she was here, was amazing. And the crew as well, having access to just like top tier talent. My DOP, Angus Hudson, had just worked with Sophia Loren on The Life Ahead. So it was dreamland to be able to do that. Yeah,
totally. But did Netflix put all the money in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, sometimes I don't know if they might have said, we're putting in a third, or we're putting in, 3/4, and therefore you need to find the rest. I don't know. I mean,
the lucky thing about having not raised any money for it up until that point was that they could basically make it a Netflix original. But I think they do co-pros and stuff. But yeah, with this it was great, and the experience was amazing. Once Netflix came on board, that we were able to look at each area of the film and just give it exactly what it needed. I mean, I never thought I'd be able to get the soundtrack that I'd spent years fantasizing about on the Spotify playlist, when I was doing my day jobs and stuff, but we were able to get every song that we wanted to get, and it was amazing. And that just goes throughout, we got what was absolutely needed without losing a sense of, the type of film we wanted to make.
And this comes from the power of the script, the skill of you as a director, your team, and your pitch, obviously.
Thanks, man.
But it must have done, because there's no these big companies like this don't just go, yeah, cool, here you go, we're going to make this. So there has to be something that you deliver. There's something when you're in the room that they go, yeah, I trust this person. You've not made a feature before, and Netflix going, yeah, let's make a Netflix original with this guy. That says something about you. It really does, because this doesn't happen every day.
Thanks. No, cheers. I will tell myself that when I'm wiping nappies and I'm kind of like with my babies.
But maybe there's people listening going, he deserves this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. But I think there's more. I think there's timing, and what's the saying? I always get it wrong when I say it. It's like, luck plus, what's the equation?
Putting yourself
out there.
Luck's like being in the room enough times to have that luck.
Yeah,
and
it's
chance.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
It's a mix. You've
It's
got
a
to be
mix.
in the room.
Probabilities of luck.
Exactly. You make your own luck to an extent, but then there's also certain things that are out of your control, like people being put in certain positions or people that you've met, and timing and what people are looking for and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all generated from that gut feeling of like passion of like, you need to know this thing is great.
It's
you
like,
know?
It's like I was there was someone that I wanted to meet like in the film world. I won't sort of go into who it was, but I'd already met them before, but it was in a sort of an opportunity where I didn't have the chance to chat, and there was going to be like a Q&A screening where I could meet them, and I was like, well, no one's around to go to this with me, but if I go, there might be a chance to have a chat afterwards. Person didn't turn up.
Shame.
But those are the kind of things where, you do that could have gone the other way. Those are the times when you might meet that person
Or someone else.
or someone else, and you might just have that informal. I mean, that's why I always, I think screenings are a great place to meet anyone. I think they're some of the best networking events, rather than like these kind of booze and schmooze events where you just chuck everyone into a loud, noisy, drunk environment and everyone's like shouting and trying to pitch something. Yeah. Go to something where you actually want to, maybe not the filmmakers of the film, but you're just interested in the film itself.
And that can spark a conversation with people there.
You might meet someone that's also doing some great stuff, or you might speak to someone on the team. But you have to be in those scenarios to try and do that, and I think those are nice situations because they're a bit more quiet, they're a bit more intimate, there's not millions of people around, and it's a bit more like just people having a chat about film.
Definitely, but also I find filmmakers, especially ones that I've met from sort of our generation, are very willing to kind of advise and help people. I love to chat to people that young filmmakers that are up and coming and just telling my experiences, and I think if you reach out in a way that's just very honest and very, just kind of like, you're not trying to sell them anything. It's just like, look, this is me. I'd love to get your advice. I really like your film and this is why I liked it. The other thing is you kind of feel when it's like a blanket thing. It's like I'm like one of like 20 filmmakers that they've sent the thing to. It's like, no, I find it's the same thing.
Yes, sir, madam.
Madam.
Dear Dave. No, my name's Eddie. But it's the same with anyone. I think that you're. The other thing I meant about that is actually once you're chatting to a filmmaker and getting advice, then you put yourself out there when they're making their next film. Check in with them. They might get you in on set, and suddenly you're like, you got access to a Netflix film. Same with like the producers that you get on board when you're crewing, or when you want to, way before crewing, but when you're trying to get your project made, reach for the producers that are kind of coming up, that you can see are plugged in, that you like their stuff of. Like if you look at like Screen International Stars of Tomorrow, which you are one of them. Thank you very much. I didn't say that just so that you would say that, but I'm glad that you did now. But if you do look at that,
for clarity, he was kicking him under the table.
Say it.
There's your £10. But like, if you look at the producers on there, they're all doing amazing stuff, and they're all plugged in, and they're all on their way up. Try and reach out to people like that. Try and reach out to people who are BAFTA Breakthrough Brits and just get advice, because obviously these people will be busy, but they're not going to be as busy as like, I don't know, or Damien Jones, or
Yes.
So I think, and especially, but when you do approach these people, they will be able to feel if it is a blanket kind of thing of like, you're in the industry, I need contacts. Yeah. It needs to be, I really loved that film because of this. Correct. I'm making this type of film.
Yeah.
Can you advise me a little bit? And people will want to help you, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Part. Speaking of advice, when you made I Used to Be Famous, moving into your second film now, what will you take from that first film?
I think the main thing for me is actually trusting your gut, actually at all times. Like I know we mentioned about it before. I think sometimes I would overthink a couple of things. Most of the time you kind of have to just go with your gut, because just time, and also having made it, I think in pre-production.
Having made it. He's made it now. Look at this guy.
Definitely not that.
Screen Star of Tomorrow, there.
Check out the big balls on Brett. Having made the film, I think in pre-production, it's so important that you have. I mean, you guys will know this, right? Like, there's conversations. There's conversations that you wish you had when you're on set on the day. And it's like, if only I just had 5 minutes to chat about this tiny detail, that would be very valuable. So I think for me, when you're meeting your HODs, just going through every single thing, to the minutia, and getting that chat in pre-production, because actually you'll always intend to do it, but some things could potentially get missed. That's the main thing I kind of would like.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really important.
What about you? What did you guys learn on after your first one?
Oh my
Nothing.
God, so much.
I think one of the main ones was, it was like a mental thing about shorts to features. It's not the same because I'd already done a couple of features, but it was, I suppose it was the first big feature, and that was like this impossible goalpost. And it was just realizing that actually it is exactly the same as a short, in a sense that you are just getting through, you just break it down. Okay, this is the scenes I need to do before lunch. I've got to finish this scene first, then I've got to finish these 5 scenes or 3 scenes or whatever. Then I'm finishing the day, and then it's on to the next day. The only thing that's different with a feature is that you've just got to remember your character arcs, in terms of where they are in the story. That's the only difference, and you're there for a long time. But it is, it is one of those things. But I think getting actors into locations would be a really useful thing to know before, because there was a lot of stuff where cinematography had been planned in advance, and then the actors were like, well, this doesn't quite work for what I wanted to do, or it didn't work for what I wanted to do, or it looked a bit staged or whatever. And I think sort of knowing the spaces in advance, and having the time to sort of get the rehearsal maybe in the place, or at least have the actors know the place beforehand, before sort of locking in all the visual stuff. Because that's a huge waste of time when you get them in, they're like, actually this doesn't, let's try it here, let's move them around. So maybe being too stagnant with the visuals in advance of not having done the rehearsals.
The rehearsal thing is a big thing, because for me, it's key, like workshopping. I always like the actors to kind of tweak the script. If it doesn't feel natural coming out of their mouth, I'm totally cool with them. It needs to feel as authentic as possible. But workshopping for me is one of the most important things, actually.
For me, it was to relax. I was so pressured.
Helpful,
I was so stressed. And I wish I hadn't been, there's videos of me. I did a whole behind the scenes stuff, the whole thing. And I'm literally manic. And it's like, whoa, chill out, you're fine. And I think it's it was a studio movie, so the pressure, same as you, maybe it was the same. I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this right. This is my one chance. And it's not true. That was just a chance. You've got this. You know what you're doing. You've prepped with an inch of its life. You're all right.
And you're making a movie.
You're making a movie.
This is the dream. You've got to enjoy it, man.
Right?
I think that's the other thing as well, is over prepping. Like, maybe different people function different ways, but if I'm badly slept and I've stayed up like an extra amount of time to really go through the thing that's happening the next day, but I'm tired, I can't make any decisions. I'm useless. Whereas if I go to bed early, I've had a glance over, but I haven't spent the extra time that I could because things have run over, or because this problem happened or that problem. But I'm awake and I'm fresh and I can think, I can make decisions like that. And I think a lot of people try to burn the candle and, go out and have crew drinks after their shoot day. And they don't just take the time to actually relax and mentally unwind, and they burn themselves out. And I think having that mental sharpness is kind of sometimes more important than the preparation. You can do the preparation in advance to obviously try and remedy a lot of that anyway. But that's a big thing I see with people, is they're just sort of walking zombies, and they're like, well, you're useless.
Sleep is so important.
This really good advice. I think the other thing, actually, I think for me, for the next one, is just making sure, like, it ties into the you're making a movie thing. Actually, that needs to be the mentality for everyone there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of such an old-fashioned thing where, like, people are just, obviously people work very, very hard and they're very tired, but you want your crew to not be treating it as just another job.
Mercenaries, I find, like, really demoralizing. Like, obviously you want to be working on a film where you can pay them enough where they're not feeling like, I'm just going to clock out at the end of the day. But I think it is really important to have those people that aren't always just thinking this is a job. The second the clock hits the hour, I'm out of here. And they're actually thinking, okay, well, these people that are trying to make the film a human, and they're desperately stressed and they're trying to film. So it's finding that balance, but
it's how you get them on side. That's
the key.
And
that
it's
comes
not
from
treating
you.
them like crew.
I think that comes from you. That
From
comes
the
from
top.
keeping that
Yeah.
passion. And like, you know, my producer Collie and I, you know, the whole time we were just sort of like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Even when you're you're not making your day and like you're really stressed, it's like
This is amazing.
This is amazing. In fact, I think it might have been like you and your person. No, you need to have that mentality in mind where it's like, okay, like yes, this is stressful right now. We need to get this thing, but ultimately, I'm making it an effing movie, and this is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that will filter through, especially for the runners. I think because you don't want people. There's that old
I hate
fashioned
treating runners like dirt. Like,
but it's such an
so
old
many
fashioned
people do,
thing.
yeah.
You shouldn't ever do that. And just because like, you know, we were, you know, it doesn't mean it's right. And I think you want everyone to have a great time on set, even if it gets really, really tough. By the end of it, it's like, no, that was tough, but I achieved a great movie day, you know?
Yes. And that's the thing. You have achieved a brilliant film here.
Thanks, man.
No, you have. It's incredible. It's done really well. You know, what was it, number 2 on Netflix?
It was for that week. It was number 2 in the UK, number 8 in the US, and 4 globally. Top 10 in 62 countries.
I mean,
not bad.
No, I mean,
I clearly haven't memorized that. Don't say that to myself in the mirror every day.
Every day.
He's going up tomorrow.
But how incredible. Interestingly, your actor there, who was Biffa nominated for a breakthrough role, Leo Long, you know, stunning performance. Talk about that.
Long-listed.
Yes,
No,
Leo Long was actually nominated, but he was originally long-listed.
Yes.
Long.
He was,
It was a long
he was
time.
actually longlisted for best supporting actor. Actually,
There you go. Talk about working in that process.
And working with a neurodivergent actor.
that experience was amazing. It was, you know, that was something that we were very keen on doing from the beginning. It was essentially giving an opportunity to neurodivergent actors, essentially, you know, because there's been so many stories in the past that have been told, you know, brilliant stories, but the opportunities weren't given to actors that had that lived experience. So we just felt that we would be able to find that actor by first going to neurodivergent talent. A lot of them weren't actors. Leo was a first-time actor. He was actually a musician. He sort of turned up on his audition, started playing the banjo, and then a baron, this Irish drum, and just totally blew us away. And his personality as well, because although the character's inspired by my cousin Saul, he isn't Saul. You know, there's certain elements and themes and his relationship with music, but we wanted Leo to really bring a lot of himself into this role. And Leo didn't actually speak until he was 9 years old. He was nonverbal. So, you know, his story in itself is amazing. He went from being nonverbal at 9 to starring in a Netflix film at 19, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm really proud of his performance. And the same with the other neurodivergent cast. You've got the majority of the members of the drum circle, the music circle. And it also just made it was the first week of shooting that. So it really helped get the crew on board as well, to see what we were trying to make and how we were trying to make it.
And it's basically just another department. It's another support department. So I mean, you have like stunt coordinators, you have intimacy coordinators. Now on this one, you have a neurodivergent coordinator or someone in the sort of support role to work in the film.
Yeah, so we actually work with the National Autistic Society mainly during development and also a little bit of production, but mainly and post-production as well, just making sure that the story we were telling was authentic and true, not only for the role of Stevie, but the other neurodivergent cast, and also Amber as well, the mum, you know, because from the research that I'd done, that there's and Eleanor as well, there's not been many depictions where it's that fair to parents and family members of autistic characters. So, you know, Eleanor worked really, really closely with Leo's mum, Yumi, and did her research as well to give a kind of authentic performance, to give a very authentic performance, not kind of authentic performance. And so Tricia Hitchcock came to us through Access All Areas, who we work very closely with. She was essentially Leo's acting coach. So, you know, she would work and the other members of Access All Areas would work in pre-production very closely, making sure they'd go through the script and assist him, and advising our crew and production team about breaks and the type of environment that we needed to set. And people ask me kind of what are the, is it more challenging? And it actually, it's not that it's more challenging to work with neurodivergent cast at all. And one of the things that probably the most important thing that I'd like us to achieve from the film is to kind of encourage financiers and filmmakers to work with neurodivergent cast and crew more. It's that every actor has their own process. Some have different ones, there's like legendary kind of things about certain actors. With Leo, he had certain needs, and we wanted to get the best performance out of him, so we would react to that, and that's how it went. So Trisha Hitchcock was amazing. She worked with us on essentially helping me direct Leo. That was essentially what happened there, and it was we're really proud of his performance.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah,
it's incredible. Listen, Eddie, this has been amazing. Literally, thank you so much for chatting away. And listen, I Used to Be Famous is still on Netflix now. Go watch it. Go support if you haven't.
Give it 2 thumbs up, not 1.
There you go. Give it the 4 stars it deserves.
Thank you.
Honestly, it's just been great. Where can people find you on the socials?
So in your loft.
number 22.
I think it's esternberg.director on Instagram and Eddie_Sternberg on Twitter.
There you go.
There we go.
So and if you do write to Eddie, honestly, don't just go,
just slide him a DM.
Yeah, I want to make films. Help me. Watch his film first.
I want to make films. Please help me.
Yes.
Be polite.
Be polite.
What's one bit of advice you could give young Eddie, desperate to make films, out of hope, wanting that one bit of useful info?
Trust that burning passion and desire. And if you don't have that for a project, it's not the right thing.
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks very much, Eddie.
Cheers, guys.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The lovely Eddie there on Filmmakers Podcast.
What a treat.
What a treat. Go out there, make your films, make it happen. Do as Eddie has done. You can turn your short into a feature if you want. Shorts do lead to feature films. Believe in yourself and go out there and make your films. And if you've already made a feature film, make another one. What are you doing about that?
That's the long and the short of it, you could say.
You really could. If you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, and don't take the short elevator, you take the long one, then send it back down to everyone else out there.
Or maybe take the escalator so you can fit lots of people on your journey with you.
That's really nice. They can follow you, can't they? Yeah, I like that. I like that.
And if you're going up the wrong way, then it's good exercise. So
yeah, except people will be traveling around the other side. So if you're going, they're trying to go up and you're sending it back down.
What about if you jumped from one to the other?
You could do that, because what it's like trying to run up an escalator that's going down.
I feel like that's what film is like. It's like jumping from one escalator across a precipice onto the other one.
It's like running up a down escalator. There you go. Yeah. Right. Take care. Go out there. Make films. We will see you next week. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Stitch Fix. Stop shopping. Get styled.
A+ on the outfit, Miss Turner. You are about to slay parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, these? Just the most perfect fitting jeans my stylist sent me.
Oh, hello, you, who didn't set one foot in a mall and still looks amazing.
Just share your size, style, and budget, and your stylist sends personalized looks right to your door. Stitch Fix. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
To my stylist, this look is dedicated to you. Thank you. Thank you.